says I'm live now. Hello everyone. It's been a little while. Yeah, it's really late on Sunday night. I mean, it's 9:30, which is pretty late for me for streaming, but a lot of people I know, at least in the US, don't have work tomorrow, and I believe in England, possibly the whole UK, it's also a holiday, so I don't know if that means it is in other parts of the world, but we have tomorrow off for Memorial Day. And yeah, so let me know if the mic sounds alright, by the way, because it's like backwards right now, I guess, because of Christopher's live streaming. He kind of like flipped it around. So anyway, hi Judith. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff, a lot of reading planned for June. Like, what month is it? The mic sounds fine to you. Okay, thanks. Hi Taryn, hi Diana. Yeah, so I'm very behind on updating my spreadsheet, so I'm not even going to do that tonight, but I'm going to kind of go over, like, what my reading plans look like for June and how I've, like, organized my reading, and you can't hear, but it might be your phone. I think it's your phone. So yeah. I started reading... What did I finish reading last night? I finished reading something. What did I read yesterday? I read... Let's see, did I mark the things that I read yesterday? I've been very bad about marking things that I've read, which is not great. No, I did not mark the things that I read. So I read A Prince on Paper yesterday. And I read Carmilla. Is that 2 L's? So I finished that yesterday, and I started it the night before. Good stuff. I caught up on another series. And then I also read Carmilla finally, which I'm really glad I did. It's super weird. The writing actually kind of reminded me a lot of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But I really liked it. I thought that the lesbian tones in this book, but still barely, it sounds weird. Here, I just pulled the mic a little bit closer. Or here, let me flip it around to the other side. I don't want to like mess with Christopher's stuff too much since he has it set up the way he wants, but let me know how that is. Is that better? Is that worse? Am I obnoxiously loud now? Is that better? Okay. Hopefully that's fine. I thought the lesbian undertones in this would be a lot subtler, considering that it came out in the late 1800s, but they were really blatant. Like, literally, like, one of the female characters saying to the other one that I love you and, like, kissing her a lot and stuff. Like, quite surprising. But I actually really enjoyed it. It was, yeah, it gave me super strong, like, with the writing. It kind of does a similar thing that Dr. Jekyll does, where it's not actually from like Carmilla's perspective at all. It is other people like telling stories to each other of this weird stuff going on. I liked it. I'm really glad I finally read it. And Every Tool's a Hammer. So I tried to read this by Adam Savage. It's his new like memoir slash science book that came out May 7th, so it's brand new. I really enjoyed Mythbusters when I was growing up. Chris has actually never seen Mythbusters, which I find astounding. I think he would really like it. So I'm actually going to make him watch some of that with me, probably tomorrow. And I thought I would really like this book. And it's not that I think it's a bad book. I just don't think it's the book for me. I don't know. He literally spent, so it's like a 7 to 8 hour audiobook. It's somewhere in that range. And the first about hour and a half of the book, he spent, like the first little bit, he ended up talking about other stuff. And then he spent like a good hour of the book just talking about lists. Oh, about him not watching Mythbusters? I know. That was my reaction yesterday when I was telling him about this book and my feelings on it. And he was like, I've never seen Mythbusters. And I was like, what? So, I need to fix that. But he spends like a good hour of this, like 7 or 8 hour audiobook just talking about lists. And making lists and how he utilizes lists to increase productivity. And how he used to use this kind of list. And now he uses this kind of list. And blah, blah, blah. And he just, like, talked about lists for, like, an hour. And I was, like, pushing through. And I was, like, really, really just trying to get to the next section. I'm like, maybe in the next chapter he'll stop talking about lists. So I finally end the chapter. He goes on to the next chapter. And he's still talking about lists. And I was like, that's it. I can't do it. I can't listen to Adam Savage talk about lists anymore. Like, literally, it's gonna drive me up a wall. Yeah, so I just have to put this one down. I don't think I'll ever go back to it. It didn't, like, draw me in enough. I think also because I think the type of making that he does and the type of making that I do are very different. Like, I wouldn't consider myself a maker like he does. And I mean, I think it's really cool when people do cosplay, and it's really awesome, but I have 0% drive to do it myself. I would never do it myself because I'm lazy as can be. And so, like, I just had a hard time also, like, relating to a lot of the stuff that he was saying, because it's like, yeah, this is really cool that you do this, but also, like, I can't really empathize with his drive. Where he's like, I made this prop from this movie that I really like the gun from like Blade Runner or something. It's like, I made this like 12 times until I got it perfect, and it has like 400 parts, and it is incredible, and blah blah blah, and like telling about all these different things that he done, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but like also I would never, and I don't necessarily find it super interesting hearing someone talk about it either. Whereas like if I was watching someone build it, I think it'd be more interesting, like still something that I would never have the drive or desire to do. But since I don't know a lot of the stuff that Adam Savage has made, I've never like checked out his cosplays, I've never like done all this stuff, because I'm a casual fan. So it just wasn't for me. I don't think it's bad, and I think if you're interested in it, definitely give it a go. But it wasn't for me. So that's how I feel about it. I'm very interested to see Olive's review on it when she finally reads it, though, because I think she can relate to a lot more of the stuff that he says, and she also cares. I don't know. She, like, has gone and seen him talk before and all this stuff. Oh, sorry. Hi, Elizabeth. Sorry, I was getting distracted in my own thoughts. How are you doing? Let's see. DNF'd. Oh, gosh. Ah! I just dropped the mouse on the ground. Oh, excuse me a moment. Okay, I got it. The problem being is that I'm so short is that I push the chair in very close to the desk, and then I can't get out without, like, pushing it back all the way. Let me see. Let me see how far I got in this book before I DNF'd it. Because I feel like I gave it a good shot. And just, like, it wasn't for me. Yeah, so I got 2 hours through it. I got to chapter 4. So it's like an 8-hour audiobook. It's just under 8 hours. So, anyway. You're playing around on Goodreads? That's my favorite pastime. I got exactly 25% through. This book was also just making me feel really slumpy on top of that. But now I have an immense desire to go watch Mythbusters with Christopher. And then the other thing that I just started is I started rereading Foundry Side, which I really liked when I read it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I'm very excited for book 2. It comes out soonish. I think in August, maybe? It better come out in August. Otherwise, I'll cry. Oh, wait, no, it comes out next year? Are you kidding me? I think it got pushed back. February 2020. Oh, that makes me upset. But I really love this book, and I'm rereading it for what's his face? For Pokemon Badgeathon. I'm rereading it because one of the challenges is to read this book. So that's why I'm reading it. But also, it wasn't very much of a push to... I felt like it was coming out later this year, and I feel lied to. But it wasn't very much of a push from Pokemon Badgeathon to go, yeah, I'll reread that. Like, you say I should read it for this challenge? Okay, that's fine. I'll do that. Because I really, really like this book. And it might be a 5-star the second time around. I forgot how much I love Cleft. Like, I didn't forget. I knew Cleft is, like, the best character in the entire world. But I'm just being reacquainted with the fact that Cleft is the best character in the entire world. I love him. Hi, Elizabeth. I'm eating a Dorito. Yes, I'm actually gonna do I'm doing a couple romance book bingos this summer. Oh yes, Sword Thane is Judith. For tonight only. I am doing a couple summer romance book bingos this summer. that was a little bit redundant. It's fine. Um, one of them is being the one hosted by Steeped in Books, Sarah from Steeped in Books. These are all the challenges. So basically how hers is done, I did see that the announcement for the final biannual bibliothon happened. It's actually not a readathon that I've ever participated in. I remember when it first started. I was part of BookTube when the first one happened. Which is pretty cool. It makes me feel like I've been part of this community for a long time, which I have. So the way her bingo-a-thon is working is that there's 80 prompts. You click like this link and it will create you a 25 bingo board, and it will just choose random prompts, and you can just refresh it until you get ones that you like, or you can just choose from whatever you want out of these and just make your own bingo board. There's a few ways to do it, and I'm just going to try to hit every prompt, but not read a unique book for every prompt. So she is doing a thing where, like, every line that you fill in the book bingo, you end up getting, like, an entry into, like, getting, like, a gift card to, Books A Million, not Books A Million, why I say that, Book Depository and stuff. So obviously I wouldn't use that to, like, cheat, to be like, oh, well, I crossed off every single one, but I only read, like, 40 books for it. Like, obviously I'm not going to do that. I would just count each one individually. So, like, if I crossed off 40 books, and that would be 8, and then plus 2 for whatever. You get it, what I mean, but they would have to be unique ones that they count for. But I'm going to try to hit every one, because I think that would be very easy to do, but also, like, would push me outside of my comfort zone a bit, because there's some that I would have to, like, stretch it for a bit and stuff, and I think that would be really awesome. So that's what I'm going to be doing throughout the summer months, but I'm not going to, like, really start focusing on it until July. Puppy Love by Lucy Gilmore. Oh, that's oh, well, yeah, it is super new. It's not even out yet. I will add that to my list. Thank you. And also Simsathon. Yes, I'm super excited about Simsathon. Well, I'm excited to add it to my list. I wonder if there's going to be an audiobook, because that will make everything easier for me. Eh? Hey, there will be an audiobook. Awesome. Nice. Okay. Alright, so that's what I'm doing for summer romance. And then the other summer romance book bingo that I'm going to participate is the Ripped Bodice one. But the Ripped Bodice one doesn't actually start. I mean, they don't release the challenges until the 1st of June. So I'm waiting with bated breath to see what wacky challenges they come up with this year, because last year there were some pretty funky ones and they were really fun. Yeah. Except for you're, like, editing a video and I'm just live streaming, which is less effort. So yeah, anyway, there's that. And then I'm also going to be doing Smutathon this month. So this is how I ended up creating my Smutathon TBR, because y'all know I like to hit every single challenge. So if you don't know how Smutathon is set up for this round, it's going from the 3rd to the 9th. Oh, it is the 3rd to the 9th. I was thinking that it was the 2nd week, but it's actually the 1st week. Shoot. Okay, there's a couple books I need to check off in the library then. I need to do that tonight then, so that I for sure have them during the readathon. But how I ended up doing it is because I want to hit every single prompt. There's 16 prompts. I want to hit every prompt, but obviously I'm not going to read 16 books in 1 week when I have work. That's just not how life works for me. I'm not Elizabeth. What does that even incorporate? Oh, it looks like they have some very interesting selections on there. Yeah, but I have zero desire to read a lot of the books on this list. But that's just me. It's just spreadsheets. It's very easy. So basically, for Smutathon this year, let me... Oops. No, I want the ones from this year. Oh well, I'll just go to Riley's channel because I know she posted one recently. Oh, shut up. Shh. Okay, so the newest Smutathon. Oops. Here's the bingo board for Smutathon. So it's 16 challenges. This is how it's set up, and you can get ones around or across or down, or one right through the center. And that's how the Smutathon bingo board is set up, but I want to hit all of them. So I ended up just writing out all the challenges, and then I chose books. I just started going through and choosing books that were like at the top of my TBR anyway, that I wanted to get to really soon anyway. So books from like my Romanceopoly TBR, or actually I think all of these are prompts from either Romanceopoly or I just really wanted to read it, or I own the Audible book and I want to get to the Audible book soon because I bought it. So some of them have overlap, which means I can ditch some of them if I really need to. So like Paper Princess, the only one that one is... Well, the only unique challenge that is standing in for is a bad boy and a good girl. And that is the easiest gosh darn romance trope to fill in ever. So I'm not like really concerned about that at all. So if I have to substitute in another book for that, or if one of these other ones ends up fitting in for that, that's fine. So I just went through and chose which ones they actually fit into. And then I was able to do it in 6 books. And one of them is a novella. So 5 books in a novella, which I can do in a week. So that's how I did my romance one. So Let's Talk About Love is an LGBT book, a new to me author, an author of color, and it's friends to lovers. And then Love in Other Words is a second chance romance. Dark Fever takes place in a foreign country, has a 1-word title, host's favorite romance, because Lainey... That's the first place I ever heard about Dark Fever, was on Lainey's channel. Different worlds, because I think one of the guys Fae, and then she... I think there's a love triangle, potentially. But she's human and he's Fae, or something like that. Out of Your Comfort Zone, I don't read paranormal romance very often at all. Especially not, like, more serious paranormal. Pretty much the only paranormal romance I do read is like Helen Harper. And like contemporary or historical is a lot more up my alley. A new to me author as well, and then a forbidden romance. And then Trade Me is also author of color. Trade Me is by Courtney Milan. And it fits even more. You get the idea. I'm not going to go through it all. You have eyes, you can read it. I can also link it if you guys want to see. Oops. Did that paste? That copy? Okay, there we go. So there it is. Yeah, see, and I don't read a ton of paranormal, so it's like a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I don't know if there's any romance that's like super out of my comfort zone. I feel like at this point, I would read anything. So, and then on top of that, so I already knew that I wanted to obviously participate in Smutathon because it's Smutathon. And then I already knew that I wanted to do a 30-day book binge thing in June and try to read 30 books in 30 days and have them all be romance. I already knew I wanted to do this because I haven't read very much romance this year at all, and I thought this would be a really fun way to just read a lot of romance, get through a lot of fun books really quickly. Hi Bruna, you're awake. Oh my gosh, I didn't think you'd be awake. What are you doing awake? I just thought it would be a fun way, and then also that would really get me ahead, because even if I'm reading books that aren't necessarily like I chose to fulfill certain prompts for the romance bingos, I'm sure they would end up hitting a lot of them coincidentally for the 2 summer romance bingos that I'm doing, and I would like to just like get a huge chunk of bitten out of that in June so that I can do more in July, and then in August I can just focus on newts and not have to worry about tying them together. So, because that was one of my problems with newts last year, is I did newts and I finished it, and I was actually able to finish like early almost if I hadn't slacked off for like and didn't read anything for like 3 days at the end of the month. But like I finished newts and I got all 36 books done, but it would have been less stressful in the process if I hadn't had to read that mermaid book in that month. And I struggled and struggled, and I like DNF'd like 3 mermaid books, and I was like super angry, and I just like struggled. For workplace romance, The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I don't know if you would like that one. I love it. You could also do, I don't think, you don't like a lot of language in your books, because then I would also recommend, I mean, it's not technically workplace, but it is their jobs. From Lukov with Love was one of my favorites that I've read recently, and they are figure skaters, and they're figure skating together in pairs, which I would consider a workplace romance. Neither of them are too steamy. Both, I think, have one sex scene at the end. And then they make out a bit in The Hating Game. From Lukov with Love, there's a lot of swearing, but it's very slow burn. Like, it's super slow burn. Like, it's the most slow burn romance you'll ever read in your life. Here, I can spell it. From Lukov with Love. There we go. But there is a lot of swearing. Like, a lot of F-bombs. But I think it, like, fits the characters' personalities, but it's so slow burn. And I would consider it workplace romance. Let's see. Workplace romances on Goodreads. Which ones have I read of these? Or I guess office romance would be more. I Hated Beautiful Bastard, don't read that. I Hated Sweet Dreams, don't read that. I really didn't like Dating You, Hating You, don't read that. From Lukov with Love, hey. Hey. A Duke by Defeat by Alyssa Cole is good, but do not, for your own ears, listen to the audiobook. If you're going to read it, physically read it. If you physically read it, I think you'll like it a lot more. But if you listen to it, the narrator, God bless her soul, she's really good at doing, like, African accents, but she cannot do a Scottish accent to save her life. If somebody said do a Scottish accent and she tried to do one, she'd die. Because she's so bad at them. And she's really good at the other accents. And they're really interesting, and really good, but oh my gosh, her Scottish accent, just cringe fest. Culty is another one by Mariana Zapata. I think there was quite a bit of swearing in that as well, but not as much, I believe, as in from Luke Off With Love. But they're both really good. Let me see. Again, both of those are super slow burn. They're not too smutty. Gosh, I do not like a lot of workplace romances, apparently. I'm scrolling through these, they're like all like 1 stars. Attachments is not smutty at all. You've been in a very dark mystery thriller, dark fantasy, paranormal mood. So many facets. A Lady in Red was quite cute. It's technically a 3.5, but it really has nothing to do with the rest of the series. But it's about a painter. The cover is completely deceiving. It has nothing to do with the cover at all. So, I need to reread Attachments. Alex Approximately. If you want a really cute YA, Alex Approximately was so cute. I read that earlier this year and I really liked it a lot. There is, I think, one sex scene in that as well. But that one was really fun. I liked Alex Approximately a lot, and I was having trouble sleeping the night that I read it, and I ended up staying up till 7 a.m. and finishing it. But that wasn't just because of the book, that was also just because I just wasn't feeling good that night. But it was a great distraction. What Rainbow Rowell books have you read already, Lizzie? Fangirl and Eleanor Park? Because I'm personally not a fan of Fangirl, but I love Landline. Landline, I adore. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing for Smutathon. I already knew I was going to read 30 romance books, and then I also, like, plopped a bunch of them down as well and just wrote out a ton that I wanted to do. Oh, see, I loved Landline, but I haven't read Eleanor and Park yet. So then I saw Simsathon, which I really like The Sims. I've never actually played The Sims, to be perfectly honest, but I've watched people play The Sims so much. Oh, if it's a foul language that soured you, I don't know if you'll like from Luke Off With Love. She has the mouth of a sailor. But it's so good. It's about figure skaters, and it's the best thing I've ever read. Yeah, I just never had the opportunity to play, really. I have never owned it. I wasn't allowed to play video games growing up. And then when I was older, I just, like, never had a computer good enough until this one, really, to, like, handle it. And then, even then, I'm, like, afraid to, I don't know, I just don't want to spend the money on buying it. And then, if I do buy it, I just am not a very creative person, and I don't know if I would, like, enjoy it as much as watching other people play it. So, I watch a lot of people play it. I've watched Andrew Arcade play, like, all versions of the Sims games, and I really enjoyed that. His Generations one that he did, the color Generations one, I don't remember what that's called, but that gives me so much life. It's so great. Anyway. Really? I'll have to look into that, because I would be interested in playing at some point, but I just don't want to invest money in something that I know I wouldn't utilize very much right now. I'm definitely planning on getting it at some point, though. PC and Mac. Is it only with the membership? Oh, holy crap. Well, I don't have an EA account, but I guess I'll have to make one. Holy cow. Thanks, Bruna. Well, isn't this perfect timing? Maybe I'll end up playing Sims 4 while listening to audiobooks for Simsathon. I've been watching so much Star Kid recently. I'm trying to catch up on their backlog, and I have kick it up a notch from Starship stuck in my head. You watch the guy who didn't like musicals and have Join Us and Die stuck in your head every morning. Oh my gosh. I love so much. That song is great. Jamie has a wonderful voice. I play La Di Da Da Day almost every single day in the car, and Christopher is a great sport for putting up with it. But my favorite song is just The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals. I love it so much. Come on. I'm like totally signing up right now. I'm sorry, you guys. This went very stagnant very quickly, but hey, this is perfect. Oh my goodness. Can y'all believe? In case you just arrived and don't know what's going on, Bruna just informed us all that Sims 4 is actually free to download right now. I'm gonna do it. I just technically got it, which is super cool. And maybe I'll like buy the expansion packs and stuff, which I probably will if I get hooked. But I've never played The Sims before. But I really like The Sims. Yeah, Jamie Lee Betty or Beatty or however you say her name. Yeah, no, she's great. She's really good in this and Holy Musical Batman. I think she was very much underused and underrated in and under everything in what's its face? Firestarter? Firebringer? Firestarter is the Stephen King one. Firebringer. But doesn't Morgan have a good... Oh, no, he doesn't, because he does all of his stuff console, doesn't he? Well, if you download it, it will constantly be on your account, and you can download it anytime, right? But that's really cool. Like, this was $40 that I didn't intend on spending, but now that it's free, this is the easiest thing in the world. I'm really excited. And the nice thing about Sims as well is that you can download a lot of, like, skins and stuff. Anyway, moving on. I really do like Sims, and you wouldn't be able to play hours on end. We'll kick them off. Let's go, babe. This is The Sims. This is more important. Anyway, Simsathon is like the coolest readathon ever. Okay, that's not true, but it's a really cool readathon. I think it was designed really well, and I just really like that it's another one of those ones that you don't have to go over the top to participate. You can just do a few prompts. I would say, like, the good base minimum that you have to do is 3 prompts, and then anything else is icing. But they give you the ability to do so many more. And when given the ability to do so many more, I gotta do it. So, first off, do any of you guys have good recommendations? So how I did my Simsathon TBR is that I fit only romance books into the entirety of every prompt. And I'm going to try to get to them all. As much as I can, at least. And see how it goes. So, to give you a basis of how this works... Actually, let me pull up the Simsathon. Oh! And of course, neither of the 2 videos that pop up are the creator, but that's cool, I guess. Oh wait, no, I didn't mean to do that. I mean, I really like you, Mercy, but no. Okay, here's the announcement. So it's this girl. Here's the drive. Okay. So this is how it works. Is that you start off in, like, build mode, I guess. And you either create a sim or you choose a household. Create a sim is a start of a new series, and then choose a household is a book in a later series because it has, like, established relationships and everything already. You just jump in. And then you can either do either or. You can either build a house or buy a house. If you buy a house, you read a contemporary. If you build a house, you read something set in another world. And then you can choose to go through all these other things, perfect the layout, interior design, landscaping, or you can just do build a house and then move on. Or you can buy a house, renovate if you want to. If not, you just move on. And then from there you go on to live mode. So live mode, you just do as many of these as you feel like it. The points are based off of, so you get points for them. The points are just based off of how hard it is to complete the task in Sims, and not like for how hard it is to actually like read a book of that type. So instead of, she said that you can like complete a challenge multiple times if you want to. So if you read like 8 books that feature breakups, then you would get those 5 points 8 times. I don't know if anyone would want to do that, but you can. And actually that would work a lot for a lot of romance books, because in a lot of romance books people do break up. So anyway, I'm just going to try to hit as many of these as I can. I chose a book for every prompt, but I don't know if I'll use a book, if I'll be able to like get to a book for every prompt, but I'm going to try. The only one that she says that she thinks is like pretty like mandatory, that she just suggests you start off it with, is to get a job, which doesn't give you any points, because for get a job, you actually have this sheet, which is your career options. And then these different career options you get points from. So if you choose to become a secret agent, you read a mystery book, you get 5 points for that. Or if you choose the culinary route, then you read a book featuring food, you get 3 points. Or to become a writer, a book by a new to you author, you get 2 points, etc. So there actually is a prompt as well over here for live mode that is change your career. You get 3 points for that for reading a book outside your comfort zone. And then you go back to career options and you choose a new career. So the 2 careers that I chose are an astronaut and an athlete, because I had books that fit into them really well. But is it not live mode? I've always heard live mode until I watched her video, and then she was saying live mode, and I was like, I think it's live mode though, because you're living, but maybe not. I don't know which one is actually right, but I've always heard live mode, and I've heard live mode from people who go to events for EA. So, I don't know. It's super intricate and super cute, and you can tell that she put a lot of thought and effort into it, and the graphics are great, and just like everything. Live mode. Yeah. I don't know. I've always heard live mode until I watched her video, and then I was like, ooh, you want to be an astronaut and a secret agent. So I ended up choosing books for each one of these as well. But that might be like my bonus, that like if I finish all the other prompts and all the other things, then I'll move on and just try to hit as many of these as I can, and just like choose my thing a lot, change my career a lot, I guess, or something, and get points for all of those. We'll see though. But for these ones up here, you choose specific which path you want to go down. I don't think I'll have enough time to go back and do all of them, but we'll see if I end up doing that. The only ones that I didn't choose is I didn't choose book from a late book in a series, a contemporary or a book set in a world, and a retelling. But a contemporary will be very easy for me, a retelling would be very easy for me, and a late book in a series would be very easy for me, so hopefully I can do that. Hi, Katie. Live mode. That is so funny. I've never heard that. But like from Andrew's Arcade, he always says live mode. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, it's fine. It doesn't matter. So actually, I can link this for you guys if you want. So here's a link to mine. Feel free to make a copy and then delete my books and add your own in. I do want to go through, capitalize everything, and actually spell out points for all of them, because I did for some and I didn't for some. It's because she did for some and she didn't for some, and I just like copy and pasted her stuff, but then I spaced it out. And in case you want to know where the few challenges that I'm not using are, I just put them off to the right. So if you want to switch those in and delete the other ones, go for it. That's what I think, Bruna. But then it has the points and everything. And yeah, and then I highlighted the careers in blue that I'm actually intending on making my careers. Although being an athlete seems like the worst set of torture, and so does astronaut. If I was to be any of these, I would be I wouldn't want to do any of these. Maybe a criminal. Just kidding, I'd feel so guilty all the time. Maybe a style influencer. I feel like that's the only one that I would actually potentially enjoy doing. Okay. Oops, there's not a space in there. That's irritating. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's real annoying. English really sucks. So, anyway. Oops, Build a house. Create a sim, I feel like is the only one that I would potentially want to keep not capitalized, but I'm going to capitalize it anyway for continuity's sake. I'm just touching this up a little bit. So basically what I ended up doing, because I'm super extra, is I ended up making a TBR jar for myself. I think the rest are capitalized, yeah. So I ended up making a TBR jar for myself, and I ended up putting all the books that correlate to my Smutathon TBR, and I made them one color, so I can just draw them out during the days of Smutathon and try to read a book a day. And then for, I put all the books that I super duper intend on reading in another color. So like all the ones from this section, I ended up putting in a different color. And then the books for the extra jobs and the extra prompts, I ended up putting in this color. And then I ended up making a third color for just all the extra books that I didn't end up fitting into my TBR but wanted to, but didn't. So yeah. So that's how I ended up setting my thing up. The only prompt that I'm really struggling with, since I'm trying to do only romance books, is the prompt of having a romance book set in another world. So yeah, if any of y'all have any recommendations for me, I'll take them, because I was struggling with it a lot. I don't know. I don't know what to do, because the thing is, for Master of Crows, I have it set as something set in another world, which is totally accurate. It is. A space romance. I know, but the only problem with that is that I already have a couple other like space books on my TBR. Space books or set in the future books, and I don't want to like overwhelm me. Or her books are set in our world though, aren't they? Or are they not? Did you ever continue on with that second fairy series, or no? You know which one I mean. The fox, whatever, and you know what series I'm talking about. Does she end up going to like fairy in that or something? The other thing I was thinking of was maybe like the Alex. Is her name Alex? Alex something. That series. I think she goes to fairy in. I'm on book 3 of that series, but like I don't know if she does for sure, so I'd have to like look into it. Oh gosh, what is her name? Quiver of something, yeah. Quiver of Cobras. And then Fox. There's a fox in the third one. They might go. That's helpful. Alex Craft. That's it. So Alex Craft, I think in book 3, she might go to fairy. But I'm not positive of that. That's not very helpful. And I don't know if these actually count as romance, do they? I mean, they have romantic elements, but they're not like romance, you know? Grave Memory. Yes, I don't know if she actually goes into that. Fractured Fairy. Skull of Foxes. So, anyway, I don't know if she actually goes to fairy in this, and that's my other problem. Although, I don't know, there's a lot of books that, like, I would consider more, like, urban fantasy that they go to fairy in that I wouldn't necessarily consider romance. Or, like, that's not, like, a big theme of it. Alice in Vampire Land. See, I want something that, like, I actually think I'll enjoy. And that's, like, really strong on the romance. So that's the only one I'm super struggling with. And I guess I could always reread some, so Grace Draven, I've only read Radiance by her, but I really liked it. I could always reread Radiance because I kind of want to do that before I move on to Eidolon. I don't know how to say that. But I kind of want to do that like closer to the end of the year maybe. But also I don't want to reread the first book because there's a torture scene in it that I found, I don't know what the word to use is. I don't want to say triggering because that's never happened to me. I've never been tortured. But I found very, very uncomfortable, and it made me feel sick to my stomach, and I felt nauseous while reading it, and I really don't want to put myself through reading that again, but at the same time I do because I really liked the book and I really loved the relationship. So I don't know what to do about that. I guess I could always find another, like, fairy tale retelling that's romance instead. It's not like it'll be hard with all the fairy tales on my shelf, but the thing is as well is that I want the romance to be very strong. I could finally freaking read Lord of Scoundrels. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that yet, but it's not really a big deal. I don't know what you mean. I mean, May's over. But I haven't been reading shorter books in May. I've just been reading whatever I'm at. Oh, no, I'm not prioritizing shorter books. I just chose books. I don't know. Romance is just so much easier to read. So I know that even if they're longer romances or whatever, it's not a big deal. Like, should be able to get through them very quickly. I did make a Simsathon TBR shelf. It's not 100% accurate, but it's close to being accurate. So, let me see. My longest book on here is... Or my shortest book on here is 103 pages. My next shortest is 192. 200. I have a couple around 200. A lot around 300. 350. There's a lot around the 300, like 80-ish. I have some in the 400s. I think my longest is like 600 or something. 673. And then a 500 and a 430. So I have some long and some short. And then a lot of medium books. And I feel like I have a very good variety as well. A lot of different stuff going on, and I'm very excited about them. I can't believe I have The Sims 4. I'm so excited. I'm going to play that tomorrow, for sure. I'll probably start playing it tonight, to be honest. That's the rest of my live stream is going to just be me and create a sim. Just kidding. Yeah. So I'm going to go to the bathroom really quick. I'm going to refill my water, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to do my draws for Romanceopoly. And then, which I have been continuing to do even though I haven't done it on stream for a long time. I'm still rolling for Romanceopoly, so I'm going to go back and do that for June. And, yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. The other book the other book. The other the other song that I've had stuck in my head all day long, because I've only had kick it up a notch stuck in my head since like 7, because I'm making Chris watch Starship with me, and that's the part that just played. So I've had it stuck in my head for like the last like 3.5 hours. But the other song that I've had stuck in my head literally all day, there's like not a moment of the day that this hasn't been stuck in my head, is the song from Holy Musical Batman, the one that that Batman and Superman sing with each other near the end. That there's a lot of swearing in. That one's the one that's been stuck in my head a lot, and I just keep laughing, and I keep singing it around the house, and Chris is like, "Stop being mean to me," and I'm like, "I'm not, I'm just singing a song." So oh gosh. romanceopoly.com. No, I haven't read either of those. Let's see. What second chance romances have I read and really liked? Nope. Not many, apparently. I wouldn't recommend any of those. Again, The Magic I did like, but it wasn't great. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, I loved. I don't know if I would call the book itself a romance book. I mean, it is, but you could do it for that. I'm gonna be reading Love and Other Words, which I've heard is really good, but I haven't read it yet. It Ends With Us, I loved. It's a very emotional book, though, and definitely content warnings for many, many, many forms of abuse, and there was a lot of other stuff in it, too. Maybe look up for content warnings for it before you go into it, though. I've heard The Ones Who Got Away is also really good, but again, major content warnings. Hate to Want You, a lot of people really love. I liked it. I didn't see what the fuss was about, but you might like it better than I did, because almost everyone else loves it. I loved The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. I mean, I really liked the first book, The Deal, but I loved The Mistake. 99% Mine is one as well, which I liked it, but I didn't love it. It was like a 3-star book for me. The Day of the Duchess is a 3rd book in a series, so I don't know if I'd recommend it though, but I freaking adored The Mistake. Persuasion. Persuasion is definitely a second chance romance. It is like the epitome of a second chance romance. Ooh. Any of the Mackenzie and McBride's books that I've read so far have been wonderful. Lady Isabella's Scandalous Marriage is really good, and a second chance. I highly recommend. And the first book has a main character with Asperger's. The Highwayman was really good too. I loved it. Like, I think there's a lot of things in it that would make it so that I wouldn't love it, but I loved it nonetheless. Yeah, I would say you could read Persuasion. I love Persuasion. Meet Cute by Helena Hunting is literally the worst thing I've ever read. I hated it so much. Yes, read Jane Austen. I love her so much. Let's see. Let's just check one more page and see if I've read any of them. The Duke's Perfect Wife is another second chance romance, also in the Mackenzies and McBride series, although I liked book 2 better. All Your Perfects I really want to read as well, but I haven't yet. So those are some recommendations. Alright, let's roll for Romanceopoly. So where we left off. $22. So we left off on the library. Okay. The library down at the bottom is where we left off. Yikes. And it was just library. Let me double check that. London Street and the one right before Alien Avenue. Alright, so this is where we left off. Let's roll. And I'm gonna do 5 rolls today. Alright, I got a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which I was just using as like a free square or whatever, so that's fine. Roll again. Oh, another 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's like the mystery prompt from one of the months, which I actually did already land on, but I will do it again. Why the F not? I'm not really too fussed about doing the prompts in the order that we're supposed to. Like, you were supposed to only do this within this certain time period and stuff. Like, I'm not going to be entering to win like any of the giveaways or anything. Like, I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just doing it on my own, so I don't care if I don't conform to like doing it in certain time periods. I'm just doing them whenever I feel like it. So that one is Fated Mates is what that mystery one is, which I guess I could write in. So I'll have to read another Fated Mates books. Maybe I'll read the sequel to Slave to Sensation if I really like it. Books set in the future. Oh, I don't know how far as like the book promotion was gone for All Your Perfects, but I did hear a lot of people mention that. Like, I knew that is what it's about, is that it's about infertility. Um, and I feel like I've heard that everywhere as well, so it sucks that the book doesn't say that itself, because it should, for sure. You could read Wool. Wool is so good. Judith, I have it. You can read it. It major. Have you read Wool yet? Major content warnings though for self-harm and suicidal tendencies. Not only do a lot of characters in this book commit suicide and you see it, but also you are in the head of some characters who are contemplating it. So I'd like to address that, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things that I could also give content warnings for, but I'm not great at giving those, but that's one that like really stood out to me because I was shocked. Ooh, yeah, it's dark, but it's so good. I loved it. I read it in like 2 days. I couldn't put it down. I stayed up really late reading it. I loved it. It was so good. I'm so excited to read book 2 as well. Warm Bodies. You could read Warm Bodies. Binti is short. You could read Binti. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't know if I'd call that set in the future, but it's hilarious. Why is a Game of Thrones in here under future fiction? Who decided to mark that as future fiction? They need to stop. Ooh, The House of the Scorpion is really good. But you should really read Wool, because Wool is so good. I'm kind of dying to read book 2. I'm very excited to read book 2. Oh my gosh, another 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Freedom Friars. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Okay. I just got this for the 3rd time. I feel like I should either do a reroll or choose the slot before it. I really liked House of the Scorpion. I haven't read it in like 8 years though, so maybe take that with a grain of salt. Y'all, I'm just gonna re-roll. This is my 7th 7, or my 7th 7, my 3rd 7, and I feel like that's a bit much. 6. Okay, so that's what I would have gotten anyway if I did it again. I'm just gonna do the one before it because that's ridiculous. Okay. LGBT Lane. I wonder what this is about. LGBT Lane is to read a new adult LGBT romance. Oh. So the other one was to read an adult LGBT romance. This one is to read a new adult LGBT romance. Oh. So Let's Talk About Love actually would not count. It would only count for this one. That's perfect anyway, but I need to choose another one for Freedom Friars anyway, because Ash is not adult. It's young adult. I would count it. I'll count it as... I'm going to count young adult as new adult because that's just easier. I do need to choose another adult LGBT romance, but I might have read one recently. Oh, I did just read one. Red, White, and Royal Blue. Ah, although I guess that's technically new adult too. Frick. Oh. I mean, they're adults. I don't understand new adult. New adult makes my brain hurt. I'm just gonna say young adult is new adult, and anything where they're adults is adult. I don't know. I don't get it. So I'm just gonna use red, white, and royal blue. I mean, they're in their 20s, early 20s, but in their 20s. That's silly to me, though. So then, like, every single historical romance ever is new adult now? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So every single historical romance, essentially, is new adult. That's stupid. Sorry. It's not stupid. I just don't understand. And it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna say, when it says new adult, that it's young adult or early adult, but if I want to use an early adult book as an adult book, I'm gonna do it. But I don't know if I agree with that, though, because I've heard so many people say that new adult can be, like, fantasy as well. Like, new adult fantasy and paranormal romances. Like, this is a thing that people see halfway to the grave. I always considered it adult, and so same thing with Black Dagger Brotherhood, but apparently, or is this just new adult fantasy? This is like the freaking new Nintendo 3DS BS. like who named the new? See, this doesn't. I don't know. A lot of these are young adult. Like, I just don't understand. So, yeah, I'm just gonna do whatever I want because that doesn't make any sense to me. Well, I'm about to read a young adult book. Anyway, so that's fine. What's next? Oh my gosh, it's another friggin' 7. Are you kidding me? Should I just re-roll all 7s at this point? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Warrior's Way. Oh, I don't think I've gotten that one yet. I haven't. Warrior's Way. I think that's to read a book with, like, dudes in it. Read a paranormal romance that involves a band of warriors. Okay. Maybe I'll finally start Black Dagger Brotherhood. Are they a band of warriors? I'll figure something out. This is out of my forte for sure. So. Okay, let's move on from that one, because that's one that, like, is super out of my comfort zone. This prompt is a struggle for you. I mean, let's see what they recommend, because they did such a good job with their recommendations. So yeah, Black Dagger Brotherhood I could start for sure. Could read Cresley Cole. I don't want to read Gina Showalter. I don't think she's going to be the author for me. Sherlyn Kenyon I've been wanting to read. I've heard good things about The Unleashing. But yeah, basically none of these are on my TBR, and I've only read one Christine Feehan book, and I couldn't have hated it any more than I did, so Side Changeling might work. The only problem is that I'm using Side Changeling, the first book at least. I was going to use it for my, like, Fated Mates, and I'm supposed to do another Fated Mates now, so I don't know what to do about that, because Fated Mates is, like, super outside my comfort zone, too, but, yeah, I think maybe I'll do Black Brother Daggerhood, because I have been wanting to start that for a while. Goodness knows if I'll like it, though. So that means just one more roll. If it's a 7, I might lose it. Okay, it's not. It's an 8. Lots of high rolls today. Well, not super high, but fairly high. Okay, let's see. Nope. 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 There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Murder Mill. Oh, I don't think I've gotten that one yet either. Is that what it was called? Yeah, Murder Mill. 27. Murder Mill. And that is to read a thriller or romantic thriller. This is actually perfect because I was going to read Verity next month for my thriller, because that's a romantic thriller, and I could also read Naked in Death. Both of those are on my TBR, and they're both, like, I guess, thrillers. Midnight Rescue by L. Kennedy. I'd be interested in reading that as well, because I really like what I've read of L. Kennedy thus far. So, alright, that was very simple rolling. No, like, doubles or nonsense. But I've read a lot of the prompts so far. And I feel like I'm doing pretty good on it. Nice. Okay. And as far as my other challenges go, I haven't updated these since the end of last month, but I'm doing really well on my unapologetic romance challenge. I still have to do Amish, but that's one of the summer romance book bingos, so I know I'm getting that crossed off. An arranged marriage is one that I feel like I'm going to struggle with. A Bodice Ripper is another one I'm going to struggle with because I hate them so much. A cowboy western one, I feel like that's another one for this summer. Gothic romance might be a little bit of a struggle, but it's doable. Interspecies, Side Changeling, cross that off. Jazz Age, I have one on my mind. Medieval, there's a lot that I could do for that. Ménage à Trois, I don't know if I have any in mind for that. Actually, there was one I have in mind. I don't know if I really want to read it, though, because I've heard it's, I don't know. There's one called Tart that is about a girl that has a bakery. Military romance, I really would like to read Dear Erin by, what's her face? Mariana Zapata. Older heroine, younger hero, I feel like is a bit harder. Non-Western setting is also like, I feel like a little bit harder, so I would have to search for that. Pirate romance is not something I'd pick up on my own. Romantic suspense, I have a couple in mind. Science fiction romance, I have a couple in mind. Scottish Highlander, that one would be easy. Time travel, that's one of the ones for just like doing the Audible romance challenge. That one's doable. And then vampire romance, very outside my comfort zone. And Victorian romance, which is, I'm surprised I don't have that crossed off yet. I guess I just haven't been reading a lot of romance this year. So yeah, I've been doing pretty good on that, if I do say so myself. And I've been doing really well on my fantasy bingo. Like, I have almost all of them crossed off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I only have 9 left, which is not bad. Actually, I think I only have 8 left. Susan Stoker. Oh, I'm sorry, Keisha. Well, while you've been at bingo, we've been talking about bingo a lot. I've not been doing great with my retellings bingo, though. I only have 8 done, 9 done, and I should have, at this point, I guess only 12. No, only 10. So actually I'm keeping up with it, but I feel like next month I'm going to really fall off the bandwagon. So, fall off the bandwagon, fall off the wagon, that one. But it's fine. Everything's fine. So, anyway. That's about how everything's going. I have lots of plans. Bingo everywhere. I'm very excited to work on this one, though, because there's so many that I can, like, I'm going to be able to cross off very quickly. It's going to be very satisfying, and then I feel like at the end, it's going to be really hard to, like, get all those, like, special ones. But every time I finish a book in June, I'm going to try to take, like, 10 minutes and sit down and go through this list and cross off every single one that it counts for, and then, like, shorten my list every day. Like, it would be so cool if I, like, read one and it crossed off, like, 15 at once. Like, that'd be so fun. Just to hit all those prompts. You're gonna read so much this summer. You're gonna impress yourself. Read a romantic suspense with a military hero/heroine. What? What a specific challenge. None of these are on my TBR. That's gonna be hard for me. Maybe I'll finally read some Maya Banks. That's such a random challenge. Oh, I'm sorry, Katie. Who's your favorite author? The only prompt that I haven't filled in for these yet is the randomize your TBR one, but that's what I'm actually going to use. I left that one open because you're randomizing it, and I figured I'd do that during the readathon. And then when I finish all the other ones, or if I just need, like, a break or something, I can just choose from this, like, list of books. I really want to read Good Omens. I think I'm going to buy Grace of Keens, by the way, because that's on the Audible sale today, and I haven't done it yet, and if I want to do it, I have to do it right now, but anyway. I would actually consider watching that. Jodie Picoult. Is that how you say her name? I don't know how to say her name. I've heard her pronounced so many different ways. Picoult. I'm not sure. Has anyone read Dark Fever? Does anyone know if the main character goes to fairy in Dark Fever? That would clear up a lot of my problems. Oh. Tell him goodnight, and then we miss him too. I keep meaning to text him. I'll try to do that tomorrow. I know I want to listen to it. I just haven't done it yet. It's really long. It's something that I'd rather not, like, get from the library. It's actually not as long as I thought it was. But yeah. I've been really neglecting the romance package, but I need to get back on that. It was helpful for choosing these prompts, though, for the Simsathon, because some of them were, like, hard. Like, a book with an established couple, like, that's hard to find in romance. You don't believe they do in the first book. Dang it. It's hard to find an established couple in romance. So I actually went to the Audible romance package and went to married couples. Unfortunately, a lot of the married couples are like cheating books. Which y'all know as sure as heck that I refuse to read. I'm not gonna read a book about cheating. No. No, 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 no. I won't do it. But I did find one in here that I'm like, oh, I'll read that. Love-inspired military. Is that the one that, was Sarah talking about that series a while ago? Or am I making that up? Oh. She has only marked it as to read. Maybe I saw it in a book haul of hers or something. Ooh, look at you already going. I'm gonna snoop on Elizabeth's shelves now. Holy cow! Honey. You know there's only, 80 challenges, right? You have choices. I see that. Oh my goodness. You're too much. And you don't even split them into, like, for sure TBR and then maybe TBR. It's just like all of them are in the summer romance book bingo. I remember last year, ooh, I really want to read Spindle's End. I remember last year, doesn't hurt to have choices. No, absolutely not. last year, she said that you could just read whatever you want for them. Like, you didn't have to make them super romance specific, so I don't know if she said that this year as well. I didn't hear that, but I'm sure that that's how she feels. Because she almost just made it not romance at all, which I was not okay with. I need my romance. The Jessica Fletcher books. We have some of these at the bookstore, and I think they're so funny to look at. I can't believe they're still, like, coming out. That's the part that kills me. But it's great. I love Murder, She Wrote. Some just say book or novel. Yeah, absolutely. Gin and Daggers. Oh my goodness. It's too much. It's a review book. You do have to fit specific challenges, though, don't you, though, Elizabeth? I did end up taking all the prompts for the Summer Romance Book Bingo from Sarah. I took them and I printed them all out and I cut them all up and I folded them all up. And since it would be about a book a day if I was reading one for each challenge, I think I'm just going to pull one out a day. And if I've already crossed it off, great. And if not, then I know to prioritize that one because it's one I haven't hit yet. That's what I'm going to do. Oh my goodness, Keisha. Actually, I'm going to add this to my TBR 5. I don't know if I ever actually will get to it, but I would like to try them at some time because I really do love Murder, She Wrote. You're going to do 2 cards? Nice. I'm going to do as many cards as romance books as I end up getting through. I think I'll probably get to 2 full cards. 50 books in 3 months that are romance I think will be fairly easy for me because I'm really going to try to focus on romance this summer, but I don't think I could do more than 2 cards. Now the song that I have stuck in my head is the song that Robin and Batman sing together in Holy Musical Batman. I love Nick so much as Robin. It's my favorite part of the show. And he sings in falsetto the whole time and I just have his part stuck in my head. Which I'm not gonna sing because I don't hate your eardrums. But it's hard. Another thing that I've also been thinking about recently is just how there's so many books I want to read and how I end up spending a lot of time reading books that I don't super duper care about. Hopefully it runs, Judith. Otherwise, kick Morgan off. He's gone to bed. So go jump on the computer right now. So I decided to make a TBR list on Goodreads. That's my top 100 TBR. And it's if I could only read 100 more books this year, what would the 100 I would want to read be? So far I have it narrowed down to 232 books, and I've already read a few books off the list, but I would really like 2 I would really like to narrow it down to 100 and then like focus on those. But also, I'm reading a bunch of romances that weren't necessarily at the top of my TBR anyway, but that's fine. Everything's fine. I don't know. I think I'm gonna just try to take it super, super chill and relaxed this summer and not like focus on my challenges at all, even a little bit. And then in September, October, really try to pound through. But I'm super proud of myself because I, as you guys know, usually get in big slumps every year. And even when I've been feeling slumpy, and there's been a few days, I think all together so far this year, I've maybe missed four days that I haven't read at all, which is really impressive. Like, that is, I'm so proud of myself. But I'll get in these huge slumps where I don't read anything at all, and it happens every single year. And last year it happened in March and April. I think I just get kind of depressed in March and April. It didn't happen last year in March and April. I was consistent last March and April. But I pushed through this year, March and April, and I read a lot still. Even though I didn't feel like reading and I DNF'd a lot, I still tried to read a lot. And even though a lot of it is manga, like, I'm still trying and still pushing through, so, like, I'm very proud of that. In March has been my lowest month so far this year, but, like, it's still pretty good. So, anyway. I really like this feature on Goodreads, though, and you can just tell how much more of a reader I've become since 2013, when I barely read anything. I don't know that song, Keisha. Yeah, it's 200 and it's hard to narrow it down. It's really, really hard, but that's something I may do tomorrow. I have not seen the live action Aladdin. I don't want to, but I also have not seen any live action Disney movie besides for Cinderella, which was like the first one. That's the only one I've seen. I tried to watch Beauty and the Beast. I got like maybe 20 minutes in, and then I had to leave the room because I was not enjoying it. I had to leave the room. Like, my nieces and nephews were watching it, and we were like sitting on the couch watching it, and I ended up like just piecing out because it wasn't my cup of tea. But Chris, I think, might go see it. He's up in the air about it right now. Last June, though, y'all, I read 62 books. So I feel like I'm lowballing for a book a day. I mean, true, most of them were tiny little children's books that I read in like 2 days, but that's freaking impressive. Might I just toot my own horn? And a lot of them were DNFs as well. I actually did really like Cinderella. None of the others have appealed to me. I loved Detective Pikachu. Christopher and I laughed our butts off in that, like, hysterically. Like, we were losing it so hard during that movie, and we were so annoying and loud and obnoxious, and by far the loudest people in the whole theater, and it was great. Toot toot. I have heard good things about the Jungle Book, but also I just couldn't care less about the Jungle Book, so The estate is denouncing it. Ooh, I hadn't heard that. Yikes. Yeah. I own Priory physically and on audio, so I probably don't need it. What do you mean you could have waited for Redbox? Why don't you want to see all those cute giant Bulbasaurs on super HD big res screen? What's wrong with you? It was worth it just for that. If it was just like an hour and a half of Bulbasaurs walking around, I would have been fine with that. The Bulbasaurs are the cutest things ever. Oop. Oh my goodness. I love him so much. That's my favorite part of the whole movie. Look at them, so cute. Oh my goodness. And the Morello, or however you say that, they're so cute. It's giant, cute Bulbasaurs and mushroom floating Pokemon. Nothing could be closer to my heart. Oh my goodness, look how cute he is. Ah, I love him so much. Look at him. Look at him. I think Bulbasaur might be my favorite Pokemon. I just adore him so freaking much. Oh my goodness. I'm actually really impressed by how good they looked, honestly. Ugh. I love them so much. Be still my heart. I don't know, I've just never really cared for the Jungle Book. But maybe I'd like it better now. I want one too. I want them to be my best friend, even though they're poison and I'd probably die. It doesn't matter, it's worth it. I feel like I'm being hypnotized by looking into its cute face. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. So, anyway, I think I'm gonna pretty much just wrap the stream up right now. I've been just staring at Bulbasaur for like 4 minutes. I appreciate you guys all giving me the time and stuff to feel better. I'm still, I don't know, feeling kind of funky. I've been feeling very slumpy as far as books go and life goes and stuff, but I think I'm picking up. There's some exciting stuff going on in our lives that we're not really talking about yet, but no, I'm not pregnant. In case you think that's what it is, I'm not pregnant. But there's some exciting stuff going on, and hopefully there might be some changes going on with our lives a little bit, but I'm really excited, and hopefully everything goes well. I need your guys' support this week, though. Just keep me in your thoughts, because there's some stuff going on. So, anyway. But hopefully I'll be back to normal streaming very soon, because I want to do that, and I really love streaming, and I just haven't really felt up to it. Like, I don't know what to talk about mentally and stuff, but this is good. Oh yeah, and everyone could go watch Lizzie's video after this, which is great. I'm gonna go watch it after this once it's up, because Lizzie does great videos. Yeah, so I'm gonna peace out now, but thank you all for being great and supporting me even when I disappear for like months at a time. And yeah, I'll see you all next Sunday, hopefully. Okay, happy Memorial Day to everyone, and good night.